Hello girls, so we're going to do chapter number 14 today. This was the last chapter which we were supposed to complete today. This chapter is particularly about how do researchers complete their research and then how do they continue to communicate those results to the audience. So first of all, in this chapter, bear in mind it's more like communication skills course. We will be talking about, and of course also it's similar somewhat to business communication because we were talking about something called a research report. We don't really spend a lot of time on the report writing because this is still a basic course, market research. So inshallah, when you get to your co-op, that is when your instructor, your advisor would help you more on research report writing. But for me, I'm just giving you the basic idea. Why is it important? Plus, we're going to talk about how do you organize and prepare your report. And finally, the part where I said that it's similar to communication skills, we're going to talk about what or how do you do while you're doing presentations. Now, to get started, let's talk about the research report. Now, remember that report is like a document that is prepared to tell the audience, whoever is reading the report, what the research was about. So you have some objectives. First of all, you want to have a report so that anyone who's reading the report can know why the research was done. Taking you back to assignment number 1, this was the preliminary part of your assignment 1, that you had to do an introduction, meaning that what is the topic, why are you researching it. Plus, the overall report should have the research objectives. This was your assignment number 2. You wrote down your objectives, which also go inside the report. Third, you explain how the research was done. Now, for your report writing, you didn't actually write any kind of research design for your assignments. But officially, they would also put a section in how the research was done. For example, when you girls did assignment number 4 on the focus group, you did explain how you gathered the girls, how you did your focus group. So writing how the research was done includes this. Once this is done, your report should overall present the findings of the research. Like you made tables, you made charts, you made conclusive bullet points. And plus, in the end, you should have a conclusion and recommendation written in the report. So basically, what the 4 assignments you did, those are parts of a report, except that you have to put them together and put in a good introduction and a good conclusion. But overall, why do you write a report? Because you want to make sure that these objectives are covered, and your report is a written document which serves all of these purposes. Now, what exactly goes into a report? First of all, you have something called a title page. Title page is a cover page which will have the name of your research, plus it will have the name of the members who are on the research, and so on and so forth. Sometimes you can put pictures, sometimes you can put the company logo, it's up to you. But basically, it's just the cover page of a book. Then you have the table of contents. Now, table of contents is the basic index in the start of the book or the report, which shows you that on which page is what. So you girls have an idea about table of contents and so on. In the later slides, I'll show you some of those. Additionally, after the table of contents, this usually goes in a sequence. You have what we call an executive summary. Now, executive summary may be something you learned in business communication, or we also sometimes call it as an abstract. So what it does is it's basically a very brief introduction to the whole research. So anyone who's not reading the whole report can simply pick up the executive summary, which would be on the first page after the table of contents, and just quickly read through, okay, what is the research about and how it was done. But it's very brief, never beyond a page. After the executive summary, you start doing your chapters. So your chapter 1 is usually an introduction, meaning why are you doing your research, why are you interested, what is the purpose. This would all go into the introduction. An introduction could be anywhere from 1 page to 4 or 5 pages. But it's basically an introduction to why did you do the research. And this is mostly chapter 1. After the introduction, maybe part of the same section or the next, you tend to have the literature review. Now, this is the part where you actually review all the secondary data relevant to your topic. This is assignment number 1 for you girls. So basically, you just read up on your research topic and you summarize it, put references and put quotations and put this information down. This is sometimes a chapter on its own, or you can have it as a continuity after an introduction. After that, you have the most important, which was your assignment 2, research statement and objectives. We've already learned how do you make them, how do you write them, but they should be listed clearly in the report altogether. After the research statement and objectives, you start the next chapter, which is about methodology. Methodology simply means the research method. How did you do it? And you technically pay attention to 2 things, meaning what was your sampling procedure? Did you do probability sample? Did you do non-probability sample? That should be clearly mentioned. And plus, how did you do the research? Was it qualitative? Was it quantitative? Or a mix of the both? All of this discussion detail about your research is given under methodology. Sometimes researchers may also like to discuss in detail the kind or the ways of samples you're selecting. Sometimes they would even explain about the market they're studying. It's completely up to you how your report is and how long you want it to be. Now, after this, after your methodology, this is the fun part, that you start with your findings. Now, as was your assignment 3 and 4 about a survey and a focus group, this is the part here between methodology and findings that you make your survey, you make your discussion guide, and after that, you give it out and you get back the survey or the discussion guide and you start making the findings. We already learned that for findings, you tend to have what you call, for a survey, your findings come from doing an analysis like an Excel sheet. For a discussion guide, it's based on basically your conclusions. How do you, as a group, decide what the findings are? After that, the last parts are the conclusion and the recommendations. So the conclusion is basically a recap and a final word of your report. And the recommendation are the advices that you could give based on your report. In the end, you have the appendix, which would be anything extra you want to attach at the end.